organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV.
You've likely heard about the heartbleed bug, but now we've talked to the experts and we've got what you need to know to keep your internet identity safe next.
And tackling tax day, taxes may be hard for some UI students, but they're even harder for those from a different country.
And in sports, a look at baseball's 3-game series against Minnesota.
Daily Iowan TV starts now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Starnes.
And I'm Brianna Jett.
We begin tonight with an explosive fire. An industrial building in the southeast part of Iowa City burst into flames this afternoon.
STS transportation caught on fire around 4 p.m. Smoke from the fire could be seen from downtown Iowa City, and a witness said he heard tank explosions.
Warren Gitchard works at the neighboring Hawkeye Industries, and earlier today he described the scene.
Started off, it looked like just a little small fire. There was a little bit of a fire truck over there and a little bit of smoke coming out of the roof, and then it really just took off and sort of pretty much got the whole building.
For more developments on the fire, pick up a copy of tomorrow's edition of the Daily Iowan. You may think computer viruses are a thing of the past, and they might be, but one software program could potentially bleed out your information. Our own Jordan Mickle found out what measures the UI has done to keep your private things private.
What if someone had access to your email and kept your information? What if a security bug known as Heartbleed took over your public accounts and caused everything to shut down? Fortunately, according to UI officials, public websites such as Icon, ISIS, and Hawkmail are safe from these attacks. The Heartbleed bug was found in a major software utilized by nearly 2/3 of the internet. With new security certificates, our information technology services were able to prevent the bug from pulling any data in a matter of 2 days. And while the bug might be no more, Jane Drews of ITS said students should change their passwords on UIowa accounts just in case.
Our general guidance is that users should change all of their passwords, not just their HawkID password. Wait until this week so that the owners of other systems, non-university systems, can have theirs patched as well.
She said while students almost always use exclusive websites such as Facebook and Twitter, she suggests making sure these vendors are patching their systems to protect your information.
A lot of them are putting notices on their login pages for people to change their password. They're all fixed, and now we want you to change your passwords.
Unfortunately for the attackers, they will no longer be able to bleed out your information. Jordan Mickle, Daily Iowan TV.
Summertime 50 years ago today was a season of freedom fighting for the civil rights movement. In 1964, the movement held what it called Freedom Summer. The idea brought thousands of college students to the South to promote an increase in black voters in states like Mississippi. While most of the movement took place in the South, Iowa had a handful of Hawkeyes join in the fight to freedom. The historical Iowa Civil Rights Network says at least 11 former UI students are recognized for their involvement. In honor of Freedom Summer's 50th anniversary, the network is working to trace and tell the stories of these former Hawkeyes.
It's no secret the Chinese language is one of the most dominant tongues in the world, along with English. One program on campus committed to the language and culture of China is seeing its own growth in popularity. The UI Confucius Institute offers many classes and demonstrations focused on cooking, music, and artistic aspects of the Chinese culture. As of 2013, the UI Institute had nearly 2,000 members. That's 1,500 more people than the 300 registered in 2009. The Institute's leaders say thanks to that growth, they're now looking to expand the program to K-12 students in the Iowa City area as well.
Still to come on Daily Iowan TV, it's tax day, what students need to know about filing their own taxes. Next.
And in sports, news on if there will be Iowa football under floodlights in 2014.
But first, we'll hand it over to our own Jordan Mickle for a look at the week's weather. Jordan?
Thanks, guys. Well, it looks like the cold weather is thankfully behind us. Tomorrow morning brings us partly cloudy skies and a high temperature of 41 degrees. The afternoon hours come with clouds, but the temperature will hike up to a comfortable 58. The evening temperature will fall off just a bit to 53 degrees and mostly cloudy skies. Now let's take a look at the rest of the week. Thursday's cloudy skies will come with a high temperature of 52 degrees. Friday, the sun will be out with a high of 57. Saturday and Sunday have temps in the low 60s with a 50% chance of rain on Sunday. And on Monday, the temp will climb up to the low 70s. Now that's all I have for you guys in the weather studio. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thanks for that, Jordan. Today is tax day, and that means a lot of people, probably college students, are scrambling to file their taxes. We'll hand it over to Daily Iowan TV's Stefan Duran for this week's Street Chatter to see how students get their taxes done.
That's right, Brianna. It's tax day, and we wanted to find out how students prefer to get their taxes done and how many of them know how to do it. Our own Kelly Oline takes it away.
Did you know that today is National Tax Day?
I did not know that.
Did you know that today is National Tax Day?
I did not know that.
You know that today is National Tax Day?
I did, yes.
Did you know that today was National Tax Day?
I did not.
Do you do your taxes?
I do not actually do my taxes.
I do TurboTax, so well, it makes things a lot easier, especially for me. I'm a first-time tax filer, so first time being on my own. So it makes things really easy and everything.
My dad helps me.
And who do you have do your taxes for you?
Liberty Tax.
I think someone else did them.
Do you have anyone else do your taxes for you?
I do not actually.
So online seems to be the way for most students when it comes to taxes. That's our chatter on the street this week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Stefan. And with today being the deadline to file your federal income tax return, a lot of people, younger people, might be confused. The forms are complicated enough for us Americans, but for international students and scholars, filing taxes in English without help might seem impossible. I went over to the Office of International Programs earlier today to get a sense of what they're doing to make taxes easier for international students and scholars.
It's tough enough for students to juggle responsibilities and make time to file a tax return before April 15th. But can you imagine trying to navigate those tax forms in a foreign language? Many Americans are filing taxes online to save time, but international students at the University of Iowa don't have that luxury. Their taxes must be filed in paper form.
We have students from so many different nations, and each of them has a different relationship with the United States. So it can be complicated, sometimes even more complicated than domestic taxes, depending on where you're from, what your income is.
But the UI's Office of International Programs has teamed up with the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program at the Tippie College of Business to provide help to students in need. The program allows access to specialized software for international tax returns, as well as individual help from volunteers in the accounting program at the UI.
A student that brings in the right forms, they can, maybe within a half hour or so, they can get everything done, printed out, and then just told, go send this in.
And with complicated forms that are hard enough to decipher for native English speakers, international students are finding that helpful software and helpful people are great things to have on your side.
And if you're not going to be able to submit your tax return before midnight, don't worry. There's still time to file for a 6-month extension as long as you submit that form before midnight tonight.
And now for a look at what's happening beyond Iowa. More unrest in Ukraine. The Ukrainian government is currently unfolding an anti-terrorist movement against pro-Russian protesters. A deadline for protesters to lay down their weapons was issued for Monday morning. Since that deadline has now expired, interim Ukrainian president says military action will be taken to ensure safety and prevent terrorist movements against the Ukrainian people.
Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombings. A moment of silence and a remembrance ceremony was held at last year's finish line to pay tribute to the 3 runners who lost their lives and the 264 people injured. Vice President Joe Biden attended the ceremony and has addressed his pride in the city's resilience throughout the last year. Boston will be celebrating their first Boston Marathon since the attack next week.
For more on that and everything else going on in the sporting world, we'll toss it over to our own Jalen Socek in the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. Jalen?
That's right, guys. It'll surely be a special day on Patriot Day next Monday, the day the marathon always takes place. Welcome to your Tuesday edition of the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. We're covering action on the diamond, gridiron, and ice today. Rick Keller's squad in action tonight against Western Illinois at Dwayne Banks Field, but the Hawkeyes' real test will come later this week against the Gophers of Minnesota. If the season ended today, both teams would make the 8-team field of the Big Ten tournament, But with 5 teams within a win of each other, both the Hawkeyes and Gophers stand to improve their position in the Big Ten with a strong performance this weekend. The rivals kick off their 3-game series on Friday at 6. 2 games follow that one up with the first pitch at 2 on Saturday, followed by a 1 p.m. game on Easter Sunday. We'll move from the Diamond in Iowa City to the Diamonds all over the Major League. Tuesday marks the 3rd annual Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball. Robinson famously broke the color barrier in baseball while playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers, where he won the 1955 World Series. Players in the senior circuit will wear Robinson's retired number 42 during games on Tuesday night, honoring the Hall of Famer. While baseball season is just getting started, the NHL season is coming to a close. The Stanley Cup playoffs start Wednesday night. Danny Payne and Ryan Rodriguez break down the race for Lord Stanley's Cup.
Hi guys, Danny Payne here alongside Ryan Rodriguez. We're going to break down some Stanley Cup playoffs action. Stanley Cup playoffs start Wednesday night. Ryan, who you got going all the way?
I got the Boston Bruins going all the way this year, Danny. You know, Boston's only got 2 30-goal scorers, but they got 5 guys who've scored 20. Nobody else in the league has that kind of depth. Not to mention the best goaltender in the league in Tuukka Rask, and the most dominant defenseman is Dano Chara. I think they got a great chance this year.
Ryan, I'm going to go the opposite of you. Boston is playing the Detroit Red Wings in the first round. That's opening up on Wednesday. My argument for that, Red Wings are a very speedy team. Boston's a very physical team. You saw what happened last year in the Stanley Cup Finals. Chicago, a speedy team, beat Boston, a physical team. Red Wings getting real creative, kind of going on the fly. Henrik Zetterberg, Pavel Datsyuk have been out this season. However, they did win 9 of their last 15 games heading into the playoffs. So we have that argument, and we'll quickly just run down the bracket here of the playoffs. First round game, Boston-Detroit, already went over that one. Tampa Bay-Montreal, who you got in that?
I'll take Tampa Bay.
I'll take Montreal. Pittsburgh-Columbus, who you got in that?
I'll take Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's going. Pittsburgh taking out Columbus. Rangers and Philly.
I'll take the Rangers.
I'm going to take the Rangers as well, playing some good hockey down the stretch. Moving over to the west side, Colorado and Minnesota.
I'll take Minnesota in the upset.
I'm going to go with Colorado on that one. Patrick Waugh's done a great job with Colorado this season. St. Louis, Chicago.
I'll take the Hawks.
I'm taking the Hawks as well. Anaheim, Dallas.
I'll take Dallas in the upset as well.
I'm going to take Dallas. You know, Tyler Sagan's been playing some great hockey this season. Finally, San Jose and the LA Kings.
I'll take LA.
I'm going to take San Jose, Logan Couture, Joel Pavelski and company. Hopefully going to do some damage for San Jose. We'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
Finally, with spring football in the air, ESPN and ABC announced their slate of primetime games. Missing from the list, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Ohio State, Penn State, and Nebraska both featured twice under the lights, while the Wolverines will host their first Big Ten night game in their school's history. There's still hope for floodlights under Kinnick Stadium, however. Big Ten Network is expected to announce their primetime schedule next week. That's all we have time for today. Tune in to tomorrow's show for sound from football media availability and another edition of What It Takes. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Jalen. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into tomorrow's pages of the Daily Iowan.
Juicing. See just how many health benefits are connected with this growing food trend.
And read about historical university buildings that are getting a much-needed facelift.
But before we leave you tonight, did you miss it? The blood moon graced the skies early Tuesday morning at 2:07 a.m. to be exact. The lunar eclipse has the blood moon name because the moon turns a red color due to sunlight escaping the Earth's atmosphere. Many parts of the country missed out on last night's eclipse, but they won't have to worry as there will be 4 more similar blood moons in the next year. Well, I stayed up to watch it. Did you see it?
I did. Yeah, it was great. It was a little late for me, but
it was a little
figured
late.
It was worth it.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Catch up with us tomorrow night at the same time or online at dailyiowan.com.
Have a great night.
Can't pick up a copy of the Daily Iowan? Are you worried about how you're going to find out about the latest news in Iowa City and the University of Iowa? Well, look no further. You can download the Daily Iowan mobile app on your iPhone for the area's best news coverage. And you can also read and watch us on your iPad. You can always find current and past Daily Iowan stories at dailyiowan.com. The Daily Iowan is now on TV, online, and in your pocket. If it happens, it's news to us.